Well, they finally did it. They finally announced it, Xenoblade Chronicles X for the Nintendo Switch. Not for the Switch 2, for Nintendo Switch. I'm actually surprised considering the fact that they just shadow dropped this thing like it was nobody's business. It's like, this is kind of something that would have gotten people hyped. But I'm kind of glad that they actually did do this for obvious reasons. We don't have to worry about this being one of the big bangers when we end up eventually getting that Nintendo Direct. But that's not the point. The point is we finally have Xenoblade Chronicles X finally on Nintendo Switch. And not just a port. It's a definitive edition that's adding some new content and a lot of graphical updates. Elma looks gorgeous. Lynn looks gorgeous. I don't know what all the other characters' names are, considering those are the two characters that you hang out in Xenoblade X. So, yeah. So, the thing is, my history with Xenoblade X is actually quite funny. When it first was released on December or some whatever year it was, or year or month, I don't really remember when it was released, but it was a game I played and put down. And the reason for that, and I'm kind of hoping that they fix this in the definitive edition. I kind of really hope that they fixed it. We didn't really see any gameplay of it, to be honest. Kind of wish we did. But one of the things that I had an issue with the original game was that the text was too small. Now, they did end up releasing a lot of updates. Well, not a lot of updates, a lot of patches to be able to end up fixing certain aspects of the game. But the text was still small regardless. It was hard to see for my bad eyesight already. And even if you were wearing glasses or you had good eyesight, the text was just too small. And it was a little bit complicated to actually end up seeing what was really going on. Or read, for that matter. So that's kind of one of the biggest things that I kind of hope that they fix. I'm fine with everything else that the game had to offer, but there probably is like some other things that was wrong with the game. I'm not entirely sure. All I know is that the text was one of my biggest issues with the game, because it was also one of the issues that made me put it down. Some of the mechanics were also kind of not very understandable. Like the combat, for instance, was something that I didn't really get. I kind of hope that, it's a little bit more. Obviously, it's not going to be like 1, 2, and 3. Trust me, because Xenoblade X's combat is completely different from Xenoblade 1, 2, and 3. But one thing, you do not have a dedicated healer. The way how you heal is completely different. You end up healing by actually listening to what your teammates are saying. And in fact, you actually have, I can't even say that you have more, but you have more from 1 and 2. 3, you end up having like the whole entire party. But for X, you had like the ability to have like 4 characters with you, and depending on what character ends up saying what, you listen to that character, and then boom, you can go ahead and end up getting healed a bit. This was annoying because like I wasn't really used to that kind of mechanic, because I will end up admitting that kind of mechanic is a little bit ass. But hopefully it's a little bit better in terms of trying to like get your health back. But that's not beside the point. In all honesty, once you end up having the capabilities of being able to know how the combat works, it's actually relatively easy. In my honest opinion, I managed to end up beating the game eventually. Now, the thing is that with Xenoblade Chronicles X, the reason as to why a lot of people are looking forward to it now is because on the Wii U, it was a very big game. Like, the game was huge. Like, the whole entire environment to explore at your leisure, once you end up getting out of the main city, that is amazing. And to be able to finally end up getting a more touched up definitive edition version is kind of astounding, considering we've seen what they did with Xenoblade Chronicles 1 definitive edition. So to be able to see what the hell the graphical updates are going to be for not only the facial features, but also for the enemies, the cutscenes, and the music. I don't know if the music is remixed. It kind of sounds the same. I'm not entirely sure if they're going to add a remix into the game. I think that they'll probably add like a difficulty thing, because I'm more so going off of the definitive edition of Xenoblade 1, where they added an expert mode which allows you to basically manipulate how much levels you end up gaining, or having like a sort of pseudo easy mode to be able to go ahead and ease your way in, probably have a little bit more customization. They also said that, you know, it'll have like more story elements, which I don't know what that means, because that can basically mean just about anything. Like, we obviously do have the, if you beat in the game, you have like that final cutscene that happens once you beat in the game, and that kind of went unanswered, so hopefully that gets answered. Maybe it will probably explain the connection with the other games, and if it does, that's kind of good. Because in Xenoblade Chronicles X, Lyn, like, it could be just an Easter egg, or not, because there's something that's said at the end of the game that kind of references one, but you guys can end up enjoying yourself for that, unless, you know, you're people watching this video, or people who already know what I'm talking about. And if you know what I'm talking about, cool, but don't bother saying anything. But it's something I'm also pretty interested in, to see what that extra elements is gonna, that extra story content is gonna be, because it's kind of something that, you know, you're curious, you know, you're kind of wondering what are they gonna do, and what are they gonna see, what are gonna happen. Is the song gonna get remixed? That's all I'm caring about. I mean, because to be honest, X's soundtrack is actually really, really fantastically good. Like, if you listen to the entire soundtrack, don't bother telling me what song is your favorite, because I'll end up admitting some of the boss music's names are weird. So that's fun. One of the other things that I'm kind of glad that the reason as to why we also wanted this game to return to the Switch was mainly because of the online component. Now, see, the online component was on the Wii U version, and it kind of ended up allowing you to team up with some players and also be able to get some materials and gather some materials from other players from across the world. Now, when the Wii U stopped, you know, having its online service, you weren't able to do that. Now, you could still end up getting materials by yourself, but it's a lot longer and takes forever to actually get these kind of materials. Because, like, for instance, if you kind of want like the most powerful mech in the game, because you do get a mech at the halfway point of the game, not at halfway point, at some point in the game, you can be able to go ahead and find these materials to be able to go ahead and increase it to be able to get a better one, and also probably also grind money on the side as well. Not to say that money is hard to come by, considering the fact that they also have like a system that gives you money, that generates money every single time, if you end up putting them in the right place, mind you. Hopefully, I mean, people online are probably gonna have guides for that, because like the Xenoblade content creators are gonna go ham on this by giving you guides on how to make some money, how to be effective, unless the game probably just teaches you all that right off the bat. And that would be great, to be honest, because like quality of life changes is good in video games, you know what I'm saying? Anyways, the online component I'm looking forward to. I kind of hope I see that one comment that I kept seeing on the Miiverse post on the Wii U, where it basically said that this game is beautiful or this game is great. It was like one constant Miiverse post that I kind of kept seeing constantly when I first played the game, and it didn't make any sense. I'm hoping, and this is kind of like a hope, I just hope that, you know, obviously nobody spoils the game. It might be that one jerk to be like, hey, this happens. But then again, I don't really know. When I first played the online version of X, I didn't really see any spoilers. It was just like one message that kept being spammed, but it's whatever. One of the biggest things I do like about X is that you can join, like, I think it's like 4 or 3 factions, and each of those factions has like different probabilities. And now with the online feature coming back, it's actually pretty neat to see which people join a different faction. Before it was like important to join a specific faction that ends up generating you more money, but now with the online feature coming back, I think it probably is safer to say that you can kind of pretty much join like any faction that you want, the one that you like, the one that basically caters to your play style. Like, I know they're not going to add extra vocation. I don't know why I say vocation. It's probably not what it's called. I actually forgot what it was called. I think it was like classes or something. Because when you first start the game, you basically are just a basic sword user, but then as you progress, you will then end up having the capabilities of changing your class to whatever you want. You can be a defender, you can be an attacker, you can be a supporter, and it's really interesting like how much is implemented into the game, because this the comment that you always get from Xenoblade 1 was that, man, this looks like an MMO kind of game, like a third-person MMO game. Xenoblade X is actually that MMO game, and the fact that it's coming back, we're gonna get that MMO type feeling again. Like, if you ever wanted an MMO game, this is it, because Xenoblade X is long and the world is very expansive and there's a lot to end up discovering. The enemies are more gargantuan than in 1. I'm gonna just say this now, they are gargantuan than in 1, and the thing is, I love it. I love the scope of all the areas in the game. It's amazing, and it's just gonna be fantastic for when we actually end up getting the game, because it needed to get off the Wii U. Like, it just needs to get off of the Wii U, and I'm kind of glad that it's actually here, because I'm looking forward to playing it again, and hopefully everything that I basically have an issue with the original is completely fixed. So yeah, I just wanted to end up making this video because I'm, you know, kind of different today. Well, kind of different now as progressing. Anywho, I'm in Pika. Be seeing you guys next time in whatever ends up happening. If you end up wanting to see any other videos that has my thoughts on something, well, you can see right here. I don't know where I'm putting it. It's somewhere. I don't know where it's at. It's somewhere in here. But just find it there, and then I'll see you guys